A developer ran the exact command his company's own onboarding guide told him to type and in about 10 seconds, wiped every production database they had. And here's the part that should terrify you, he did nothing wrong.
Wait, nothing wrong? He deleted the whole company's data. How is that not his fault?
Because he followed the instructions perfectly. This is a real category of disaster called GitLab's 2017 incident, and it's the cleanest example we have of how a system can turn an obedient employee into a wrecking ball.
Okay, so set the scene for me. What actually happened that night?
It's late. The database is under load, replication is lagging, and an engineer is trying to fix it. He's tired, it's the end of a long day, and he's staring at two servers that look almost identical.
Two nearly identical servers. I feel like I already know where this is going.
Right. To fix the replication, the plan was to wipe the data directory on the secondary server and recopy everything fresh from the primary. Totally standard. The runbook even described it.
So he runs the delete command on the wrong server.
On the primary. The live one. And the moment he hit enter, he watched the number of deleted files climb, and his stomach dropped. He killed it after a second or two, but 300 gigabytes were already gone.
A second or two. That's the whole margin between a normal Tuesday and a company-ending event.
And this is exactly why I want to reframe the story. The easy version is, idiot deletes database, fire him. But that explains nothing and prevents nothing.
Because if you fire him, the next tired engineer at the next company hits the same landmine.
Exactly. So let's do the systems view. Ask the real question, how many things had to fail for one keystroke to be lethal? And the answer is a lot.
Failure number one has to be the identical environments, right? Nothing on screen screamed this is production.
That's the big one. When your staging server and your production server look the same, log in the same, and behave the same, you've built a trap. A good system makes the dangerous machine obviously different, a red prompt, a scary banner, a required confirmation.
And none of that was there. So the human eye had no signal. What's failure number two?
The backups. GitLab thought they had 5 different backup mechanisms. When they went to restore, 4 of the 5 were silently broken. Nobody had tested them.
Hold on. 5 backups and 4 just didn't work? That's almost worse than having no backups, because you feel safe.
That's the killer insight. An untested backup isn't a backup, it's a hope. The database dumps were failing quietly, the cloud snapshots weren't enabled where they thought, the whole safety net was theater.
So the guy who deleted the data didn't build the fake safety net. Someone else did that, months earlier, and never checked it.
And that person also did nothing obviously wrong on any given day. That's what makes systems failures so slippery. Every individual decision looks reasonable. The disaster lives in the gaps between them.
Okay, failure number 3, the command itself. There's no undo on a recursive delete.
None. And this is a design failure baked into our tools. A destructive action that affects 300 gigabytes should not be a single line with no friction. Compare it to how hard it is to permanently delete a photo on your phone, it asks you twice.
So a teenager deleting a selfie gets more safeguards than an engineer deleting a company's entire database.
That contrast is the whole video. Now here's what GitLab actually did right, and why we still talk about them with respect instead of pity.
This is the part one love. They didn't hide it.
They live-streamed the recovery. They published a blameless postmortem naming every broken system, not the person. And they eventually got the data back from a 6-hour-old snapshot, losing some recent data, but surviving.
Blameless is the key word. Because the second you start blaming the human, everybody else stops telling you the truth about the broken systems.
That's the deepest lesson here. Blame feels satisfying and fixes nothing. Blameless analysis feels uncomfortable and fixes everything. If your incident review ends with a name instead of a broken process, you've learned nothing.
So next time you read a company guide that says just run this command, ask yourself, what happens if I run it in the wrong place, and does anything stop me?
Because the best engineers don't just follow the instructions. They design instructions that are safe to follow even at 2 a.m. by someone exhausted. That's the real job.